What's going on, everybody? It's your host of the Morning Beer Podcast, Devereaux Davis. I'm doing a real quick video on the trade deadline. Today is July 28th. We're literally about what's today? Today's Thursday. We're about 4 or 5 days away from the deadline, which is next week, Tuesday, around 6 p.m., August 2nd. And right now, things started to take place. Last night, my Mets swept the Yankees in a 2-game series in Citi Field. Right after that sweep was done, Yankees went ahead and started the trading deadline by going ahead and getting Andrew Benintendi. A lot of things are weird about that. Well, he is a need because they do need a left-handed bat. It'll play well in Yankee Stadium. He's not really a power hitter. He's more of an unbased machine, which is great. Also, Gold Glover, which is also great for the Yankees. Pretty much Joey Gallo is on the way out, but what goes into that as far as it being something a little bit weird is his vaccination status, where he is not vaccinated. Can he play in Toronto if they have to play them in the playoffs? Toronto is currently in second place in the AL East. If this is something that they're in works of playing it against Toronto somehow in the playoffs, he's not going to be there for games that's played in Toronto if that's necessary. However, they got so much depth on that team. I don't even think Benintendi not playing in Toronto is going to be such a major thing that it will stop them from winning the series. They're pretty stacked. He will help along other ways, and but they'll cross that bridge when it comes to that. So now the reason why I did this video today is a potential trade that I see that makes a lot of sense for the Mets. Will have a lot of potential for years to come if they make this trade. It's not one of these rentals. It's not one of these deals just to get you over the top this year. I think it's a deal that will give you sustainable winning throughout the course of your team's run with the players that they have on the roster right now. These are trades that the Atlanta Braves make, trades like the Houston Astros make, and trades that like the LA Dodgers make. All these are currently winning franchises that recently won World Series in the last few years. Why not take a page out their playbook to make your franchise a winning franchise? So before we even get to that trade, just want to go back to talking about my Mets sweeping the Yankees last night, and it was a great series. It was a pretty good, well-played series by the Mets. Their pitching, Scherzer looked awesome. Yankees pitching looked good too. Domingo Germán looked great. After the first few innings, he settled down for a bit, got tied in the end. Their bullpen looked awesome. I feel they should have put Clay Holmes in for the 9th instead of the 8th, but they wanted to make that move at the time, so it worked at the time, but it also put them in a position where they had to pitch a pitcher that, I forgot the guy's name, skipping me right now, left-hander. They had to bring him in, and he wasn't really as effective. Right off the bat, he gave a double up to Escobar. After they gave up the double to Escobar, he got it out, and then Marte hit a rocket to left field to win the game for us. So I just want to talk about that. If you go on my Instagram, I have a nice picture of a broom for you Yankee fans to go ahead and take a look at. All right. So I want to go ahead and go to this trade. I'm pondering. I spoke about it in one of my more recent videos, about 2 videos ago, and 4 trades the Mets should make when this trade deadline comes to fruition. I believe this is needs that they have right now, needs that they could that they need to fix this year and then years beyond. With that, I feel there's a need this year for catching position. Obviously, we've been flirting with the idea of Wilson Contreras. We've been flirting with the idea of, bringing up Francisco Alvarez. I think that's not really going to happen. It looks great on paper, but it's not going to happen. We need to hold him back. And it's also very fine line and very tricky when you bring a catcher in the middle of a pennant race, in the middle of a season for any team. That's probably the one position that you probably don't want to tinker with. You want to have that steadfast and worked on by spring training all throughout the course of the year. You want to keep it consistent. However, I believe this guy has a gun of an arm, defensive Gold Glover last year, and a good in clubhouse guy, low maintenance, 27 years old, from the Oakland Athletics. Sean Murphy, he's a New Yorker. He's from Peekskill, New York. Only 27 years old, controllable to the year 2026 when he becomes a free agent. Arbitration eligible in 2023. He has a WAR of 1.8. Not an all-star yet, but he's potential to be an all-star. With this, if you bring him here, he's controllable for the next few years. You could put Alvarez at DH, and you could swap the two between DH. He's been putting up good numbers this year. Last year, he had 17 home runs, 59 RBIs, even though he had an average of 216, OPS of 710, but his on-base was 306, and his slugging was 405 last year, 2021. This year, in 2022, so far, and we're only in July, we're not in August yet, 11 home runs, so might eclipse that 17 home run in a hard ballpark to hit in, first of all, because to hit in Oakland, you get a lot of foul outs, you have deep fences, it's hard to hit home runs, but he does hit it from the catcher position. 40 RBIs, a 244 batting average, 322 on-base percentage, slugging of 426, and an OPS of 447. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. He was a former third-round pick and a former Gold Glover last year. I like this guy a lot at catcher. He handles the pitching staff real well. He handles young pitching, and he handles older pitching. He'll do well in the Mets, especially on the winning mode right now. I think he needs that change of scenery in order to pretty much, be a little bit more successful at the position. I believe he has all-star potential, and this way you could use Francisco Alvarez as a DH. Maybe bring him in as catcher, back and forth sometimes. But focus on this guy's bat, because his bat is out of his world. It's out of his world phenomenal. So I feel that's more of a position that you want to put him in right now. I also believe with that, we should also look to get a left-handed pitcher right now. The left-handed pitching is pretty much what our weakness is, because we don't have a left-handed pitcher in the bullpen. Last night, Peterson showed that he's not the one that's going to be a left-handed guy to come out and get left-handed hitters out. He's more of a starter, but for us to use him as a left-handed reliever in the out the bullpen might not be what we want to do right now. So I'm already on the bandwagon of getting a left-handed pitcher. The left-handed pitcher I'm thinking about from Oakland is AJ Puck. He's young and controllable also, 27 years old, former first-round pick, 6 overall. He's 6'7". These are big guys right here. 250. He's free agent eligible in 2027, arbitration eligible in 2024. This year at 2022, last year he had a bad year. He was 6 point something ERA. A little injured last year. The year before that, 2020, I don't think he pitched, but 2019 he pitched. It was a little bit effective, but all out the bullpen. He's a former starter from Florida, and he was drafted as a starter, but they have him now in the bullpen, and he's been pretty effective this year. He has a 2.13 ERA, 38 games, 2 saves with 42.1 innings, 32 hits given up, only 3 home runs, only 8 walks, 44 strikeout, a whip of .945. This is a guy that's going to get left-handed hitters out. Peterson's not going to do it. Jolie Rodriguez, I'm done with that. We already gave up on Chasen Shreve. Right now, we're looking at right-handed pitchers right now. The ones we're talking about is Robinson, other right-handed pitchers that's available, Lopez, Dylan Tate, stuff like that. But we need a pure left-handed guy that's going to get left-handed hitters out in that crunch time when you got 2 batters up, you got 2 left-handers coming up. You need somebody that's going to get that Freddie Freeman out. You need somebody that's going to get those other left-handed bats out in the playoffs when time comes for that. And we don't have that. So even though Robinson is great against left-handed pitching, I can't count on that, and I can't count on you to bring him in the 7th or 6th inning to pitch that when he's more of an 8th inning setup guy, more of a 9th inning closer. I don't want to bring him in that 6th, 7th inning and waste him that early. So I believe AJ Puck, who could get 2 innings, you can get 2 innings out of him. He's also going to get right-handed hitters out. I believe AJ Puck more of a fit. And I'm going to tell you who I believe we should trade for these players, because they're not going to come cheap. They're very controllable for the next 3-4 years. With this, you're going to have to give up something to get something. So with that, we're not talking about Beatty, we're not talking about Alvarez. We're talking more so of or the third overall prospect in our farm system in Mauricio. We're talking about the 5th overall in Eventos. I'm even maybe open to giving up Alex Ramirez, even though I feel he's going to be our top prospect in a year or so. But I'm more so inclined to giving up a package of Mauricio, Ventos, throw in a Davis. If you have to give up another lower end pitcher like a Hamill, I'm totally fine with that. And then package that off and go ahead and see if they'll do that in Oakland. They need a lot of young players. They need a lot of cheaper players, and these guys are going to be arbitration eligible within the next year or two, so they're going to have to raise the prices on them, and they're going to have to pay them, which they don't want to do. So I could go ahead and see us making a trade like that, and it's going to help us in the long run. And I know what you're thinking. All right, if you make this trade, there's no way you're going to get that big bat because Murphy's not that big bat you want. You want to get somebody bigger to play with Vogelback, or to make Vogelback be the left-handed bat off the bench. You have options still. You have Trey Mancini, you have JD Martinez. Now, Boston is probably the easier route because they're in love with Dominic Smith, from what I understand. You could build a package around Smith. Maybe you could trade for JD Martinez, and he's a rental, and he's going to only be available. He's only going to be here for 2 months, and then he becomes a free agent, and maybe we resign him to be at DH or whatever. With that, you have Dominic Smith, maybe a minor league pitcher, maybe a Dominic Hamill. You don't want to give up Buto because they're high on Buto. You don't want to give up Matt Allen. Maybe if you package a Smith and a Dominic Hamill, that's totally fine. Trey Mancini now, you might have to give a little bit more. Now we're talking about a David Peterson package. A David Peterson, if you get AJ Puck, I'm fine with giving up Peterson. If DeGrom comes back, I'm fine with giving up Peterson. And because with DeGrom coming back next week, Lugo looked like he's back to being a serviceable reliever the way he pitched last night in the last 2 innings. I'm fine with giving up David Peterson for Mancini, who's also controllable for a year or two. You'll get him for the rest of this year and next year, and I think he becomes a free agent. You get a Peterson package, maybe also throw in a Dominic Smith or a JD Davis in that package in order to get them off the team. More so, might be more inclined to get rid of JD Davis for that package. So let me know what you think. I'm thinking about us going into trading deadline, getting a Sean Murphy, AJ Puck package, along with doing a Trey Mancini, JD Martinez, and go ahead because we look great right now. We're getting DeGrom coming back, so that's like a trade deadline deal for nothing at all. We just get him coming back, and you bolster your starting pitching. Lugo, if Lugo steps up, I believe he's going to be a key piece that we could use, and he looked great last night. Also with AJ Puck on that, I believe these are good pieces right here that will help propel us to a playoff run. You add on Sean Murphy, AJ Puck, Mancini, or Martinez. I believe we're good to go. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, share, and tell a friend. Talk to you later. Peace.